Good Friday morning. I'm Joe Fryer.
And I'm Valerie Castro in for Savannah Sellers. Right now on Morning News Now, down to the wire. According to one source, a deal may be close, just days from the debt limit deadline. This morning, House members are on recess for the Memorial Day weekend, but they could be called back if a deal is reached.
There will be no default. It is time for Congress to act now.
We have team coverage with the president's latest warning, plus what's still on the table and what's not, and how it could all impact you. Critical clues in the sudden and mysterious deaths of infants, also known as SIDS, the promising new research that points to 3 possible factors, plus what new parents should know to keep your baby safe. Learning to adapt, classrooms across the country are trying to combat students who use artificial intelligence to cheat, but some are working on ways to use the technology as a tool. We'll show you how one major university is incorporating AI in the curriculum. And holiday getaway, it's the unofficial start of summer. Memorial Day weekend is getting underway, and it's likely going to be a big one for travelers. We'll tell you what you can expect in the skies and on the roads if you're one of the millions planning on heading out this holiday weekend. And good Friday morning to you.
Good to be. Are you going to be flying or driving this weekend?
Neither.
Staying at home.
Easy.
Also a good option. The third option.
Well, we begin this morning in Washington, where it appears progress is being made in the debt ceiling negotiations.
A source familiar with the talks says a deal is close. President Biden and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy have told negotiators to keep working, and a Republican aide tells NBC News an agreement could come as soon as today. If that happens, they could vote right after the Memorial Day holiday. But Speaker McCarthy says getting to the finish line is a challenge.
There's no agreement. Look, it's not easy. This is a big issue, and it's not something you can solve easily. We want to make sure it's worthy of the American people, and we'll continue to work until we get it done.
NBC News White House correspondent Monica Alba and congressional correspondent Julie Sirkin are following it all for us. Good morning to both of you. So, Monica, let's start with you. President Biden met with McCarthy one-on-one earlier this week. He's been optimistic a deal can be reached, but he's a veteran of this process and knows this isn't going to be easy, right?
Not going to be easy, Joe, and nothing is final until everything is agreed to. So even though there has been progress, both sides say on several key issues, the ones that are outstanding could still totally gum up the process here. So now it does seem that as negotiators have been working around the clock, there has been this agreement that ideally they need to get something done in the time frame of today or tomorrow in order to really get this in the form of a bill that then can be put before the House so that all the legislative steps that normally need to take place for something like this can happen before default. But we heard that message from the president again yesterday, stressing this urgency. And look, he came back early from that foreign trip, canceling the Australia portion, remember, to come back to Washington to try to oversee some of these critical talks. And this is what he had to say about where things stand and the real pressure points right now.
Economic progress will be made, and we're going to continue to make it. Default puts all that at risk. Congressional leaders understand that, and they've all agreed there will be no default. Speaker McCarthy and I have a very different view of who should bear the burden of additional efforts to get our fiscal house in order. I don't believe the whole burden should fall on the backs of middle class and working class Americans. My House Republican friends disagree.
This really comes down to fundamental differences between the two parties in the way they see spending and the way they see the budget. And we always knew that that was going to be a big part of the conversation here. But both, again, seem to agree that raising the debt ceiling is non-negotiable, is a non-starter, is something they both want to do because they don't want to see Americans suffer the consequences of doing this, which really, as we all know and have been talking about for weeks now, has never before happened, Joe and Valerie.
So, Julie, let's talk about the House Republican friends, as the president referred to them just a moment ago. What are they saying about the talks?
Well, you heard Monica say there that both sides are committed to avoiding default, but it's how they get there that they have the major differences in. And one of the biggest sticking points we're seeing continue here is work requirements, right? This issue that Republicans put on the table, not just in spending cuts, but really in something they really want to achieve in putting higher restrictions for Americans to be able to qualify for certain social safety net benefits. That seems to still be one of the larger issues that they are trying to work out. We heard from Republicans Republicans all week as they've been in the Capitol meeting with White House negotiators, sometimes having the biggest microphone more than the White House has, much Democrats' frustration. But when it comes to this issue, you know that Democrats under Leader Jeffries aren't really able to get all there. He's concerned that Republicans might not be able to have enough votes to then meet Democrats in the middle at the end there when it comes to this issue. Take a listen to what Garrett Graves had to say yesterday. He was the top Republican really in the room for McCarthy.
Their efforts actually put in jeopardy those very benefits to senior citizens like Medicare and Social Security because they're refusing to negotiate on work requirements.
So that's the major hang-up at this point?
No, we have a lot of hang-ups, but that's one of the bigger issues that we're dealing with.
Do you think it's possible to get a deal by this weekend?
Look, we're not going to stop negotiating.
They're obviously on the process, but as I sit here 1 week ago from today, this issue was still one of the main issues on the table. And it's because, as Biden has said, Democrats really don't want to impose stricter work requirements. They don't want to unravel also some of the progress they've been able to make in the first 2 years of the president's term. And so this really all comes down to what they're able to swallow, what each side is able to have their members put down. And so it's not clear heading into the weekend if they're able to get there.
So, Monica, the Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen says that June 1st deadline isn't going to move. Either we get a deal by then or the U.S. risks not being able to pay all of its debts. At that point, the Biden administration is going to have to start deciding which ones to pay. Real quickly, tell us a little more about that.
Yeah, so likely bondholders that are owed interest would be first up on the list. And so making those kinds of payments means there would be delays on other really important things, checks that the government cuts all the time, like Social Security, federal benefits, specifically for veterans and their families. So if you go in that order, that is why we've been talking about millions of Americans being affected here, not to mention the fact that this could trigger a recession, which means high job loss, and just the uncertainty factor here of being in a place that we never have been before. So we really don't know about what the economy could end up doing catastrophically here. And then there's also the issue of a credit downgrade. You already saw one of the credit agencies kind of give a warning, putting the U.S. on notice that that could happen, which did happen back in 2011. Even though a deal was reached, they ended up actually still downgrading the credit of the U.S. in the days that followed because of how clse they got to the brink. Joe and Valerie.
High stakes as we head into the holiday weekend. Monica and Julie, thank you both. Memorial Day weekend is here, kicking off what is expected to be a huge travel season this summer.
AAA says this Memorial Day will be the third busiest day for travel in the agency's history, with nearly 43 million Americans traveling 50 miles or more from home this weekend. That's up 7% overall from last year. And for those of you who are choosing to drive, there's some good news as you prepare to hit the road. Gas prices are significantly down compared to this time last year. Whether you're going by plane, car, bus, or train, we've got team coverage to help you have a smooth trip. NBC News meteorologist Michelle Grossman has your weather forecast for the holiday weekend. And CNBC Markets and investing reporter Pippa Stevens has a look at what you can expect to pay at the pump. We'll get to them in just a moment. But first, let's get to NBC News correspondent Tom Costello with more on this busy holiday travel season. Good morning, Tom.
Yeah, good morning. So things are moving along pretty well so far today. This is the second busiest day, according to the FAA, of the long weekend travel. And so we've got about 50,000 flights expected today, about 2.5 million. I just checked. We have only right now about 90 delays nationwide, only about 9 cancellations. So things are moving pretty well. Now, listen, this all comes, of course, a year after that Memorial Day meltdown began a series of problems for the entire summer across the country. By the end of the summer, we had 20% of all flights delayed. We had numerous situations where the airlines simply did not have the staff to fly the routes, the schedules that they had promised. Since then, the airlines say that they have hired thousands of pilots, thousands of flight attendants, ground crews, as well as gate agents, etc., to ensure that they don't have a repeat this year of what happened last year. Nearly every one of them says that they are absolutely determined not to have a repeat. We're going to be watching all of this very closely as in the meantime, the FAA has now opened 169 new highways in the sky, if you will, high altitude routes. That, they hope, will speed things along and also help cut costs on fuel. All of this coming also as most Americans are driving. 37 million Americans are actually hitting the roads. Right now they're paying on average about $3.57 a gallon. The national average a year ago was $4.60. so considerably cheaper than where we were just a year ago. Back here at the airport, as we watch all of the activity this weekend, the FAA also coordinating with NASA and the DoD to try to limit the rocket launches out of Florida. They've had so many that has also interfered with air traffic. And the FAA says, as they have tried to deal with all of the shortages of air traffic controllers in New York, they've actually seen airlines trim their schedules, but they've added bigger planes. So as a result, they're still getting the same, if not more, passengers coming into New York, even despite the fact that they're trimming their schedules. Busy day here. It's going to be a busy weekend. Guys, back to you.
All right, thanks, Tom. And if you are not flying and driving, let's get to more on the gas prices. CNBC Markets and investing reporter Pippa Stevens joins us now. Pippa, thanks for being here. So gas prices, what are they looking like this morning as drivers prepare to hit the road?
So right now, the national average is $3.57. That's almost $1 less than last year. So that is very good for people who are hitting the road. Of course, we've all been stressed by sky-high inflation at a 40-year high. And so gas prices coming down is a huge help for the American consumer. That said, at $3.57, the national average is higher than over the last 5 years, apart from that anomaly in 2022. So it still is higher. But remember, last year it topped out above $5. So it certainly has come down as we've seen oil prices retreat.
Of course, that price may look good or bad to some people, that average, because where are we seeing the highest? Where are we seeing the lowest prices right now?
So we really see a huge divergence across the country. And typically, California does pay the most. They're at around $4.80 on their state average. Down in the South, Mississippi, currently the cheapest right around $3. And that has to do with a lot of factors, including where our refiners are located. So those are primarily around the Gulf Coast. So if the oil is refined right there, then the transport cost to your fuel stations is lower. Look at a place like California. They also have very strict blending standards. And so their refiners are very specialized. There's not a whole lot of their specific blend, and that does drive up those costs. So a lot of it has to do with location, and then it also comes down to the state parameters and the state taxes.
And we know the good news is gas is down more than $1 from this time last year. But is that a trend that we'll continue to see over the summer?
So it's always hard to predict gas prices, but the people I've spoken with say that we're probably going to see prices increase through July 4th, probably not get to $4 on the national average, a little bit below there, and then slowly but surely retreat until Labor Day. And over the last 10 years, prices have been cheaper on Labor Day than Memorial Day in 7 out of those 10 years. So that typically is a trend we see. However, there are a lot of wild cards here, especially the price of oil. That is about 60% of what we pay at the pump. And with the ongoing war in Ukraine, there could be a lot of disruptions to the global oil market. There's also the risk of a hurricane later on in the summer that could take a refinery offline. So while prices are more than $1 lower right now, it's definitely, not certain, and there are a lot of things that could change that.
All right.
Depends on a lot of stuff. You mentioned California prices. I'm having flashbacks to my time in L.A. where prices were high, and there was a gas station with normal California prices, and across the street there was one that was 75 cents more always. And people still filled up. Wow. I could never figure it out. Never.
You got to shop around for gas prices.
Exactly.
Pippa Stevens, thank you. We appreciate it.
The holiday weekend is starting with a washout for the southeast. Let's get a check on your morning news now weather.
Meteorologist Michelle Grossman joins us now with your forecast. Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning to you both. Great to see you. Yeah, we're looking at some really nasty conditions in the southeast, especially tomorrow in the Carolinas, a complete washout. We're looking at some beach hazards as well. But if you're traveling, as Tom mentioned, and Pippa, we're looking at some roadways that are going to be slow in the air in some spots, mainly in the Intermountain West, portions of the central and southern plains. And we're looking at the southeast as well, with a coastal low spinning off the coast. So those are the big major stories. We're looking at a nice day, though, in the Northeast, New England, the Midwest. Really picture perfect on this Friday. That will change, though, for the later part of the weekend, but we'll enjoy today and also tomorrow before we see that weather kind of turn a bit on Sunday, Monday for some. But let's talk about that coastal low, because this is going to be a big story over the next couple of days. We have that area of low pressure just spinning slowly off the coast. It's bringing those scattered showers today, and it's bringing some rough seas to the southeast beaches. So not a great beach day today. Not a washout in Florida today, but it will be a washout tomorrow in portions of the Carolinas. Notice all those bright bright color showing up. That's where we're seeing that heavy rain falling. So portions of North Carolina, South Carolina, soaking rains. We're going to see rip currents and rough surf along the coast. And in fact, we do have some advisories up and down the coast. Then we look towards Sunday, soggy and breezy day for much of the mid-Atlantic, isolated showers, especially in that southern part of the mid-Atlantic, steadier rain for the southern parts of the Appalachians. And then by Monday, we're going to see a few more showers. So we're looking at coastal conditions impacted through Saturday, dangerous rip currents and waves. We do have a high surf advisory. That's in the purple from Cape Hatteras down to Charleston, Savannah, Daytona Beach, and also Melbourne, Florida. Minor beach erosion and coastal flooding is likely. We're also looking at beach hazards in portions of Virginia as well. Rainfall amounts, we're talking a lot. So this is going to be an indoor day for many. It's going to be gusty too. So it's going to be just a dreary day. Locally, 5 inches of rain, especially where you see that bright red color, that brick red color, Wilmington, North Carolina. We are looking at some very heavy rain. Also adding to that, we have cloud cover. We have the winds blowing. So it's going to be cool as well in addition to that rain. Temperatures well below normal today from Virginia Beach to Augusta, Georgia, Charleston, 71 degrees. That's 15 degrees below what is typical for this time of year. Terrible way to start out the holiday weekend. And we're going to keep it chilly tomorrow, too. Charlotte, North Carolina, just temperatures in the upper 50s, 26 degrees below what is typical for this time of year, 68 degrees tomorrow in Myrtle Beach. So not a great beach day in terms of the rain, in terms of the temperatures. And we're looking at rainfall amounts in the southern plains as well. And guys, we're also looking at the chance for some severe weather in the southern plains, the southern high plains later on this afternoon and evening. Back to you both.
All right. It'll be a raincoat, sweater weekend holiday for some this weekend. All right, Michelle, thank you.
The Supreme Court has weakened a key water pollution law. The justices ruled that an Idaho couple's property does not include federally protected wetlands.
The issue started back in 2007 when the Sackett family got into trouble for trying to build a house on that land. Climate experts now worry the ruling could place further limitations on the EPA's ability to enforce the Clean Water Act. We are joined now by NBC News legal contributor Danny Savalos, along with Ibrahim Al-Husseini, the founder and managing partner of Full Cycle, a company which invests specifically in climate-critical technologies. Thank you both for joining us. Danny, let's start with you. Break down this ruling for us. Help us understand the outcome and what it means.
The EPA gives federal agencies the power to regulate waters of the United States. And I put those in air quotes because what waters of the United States has varied or it's been vague up until the Supreme Court decision. On the one hand, does it include even wetlands that are somehow connected vaguely to a lake somewhere off in the distance? Or does it really include literally lakes, things that are navigable and the water immediately adjacent to it? And the point here is it's not so much that the EPA has been weakened in its ability to enforce. It can still enforce with some very, very stringent remedies, including high dollar amounts, $40,000 a day if you violate by putting pollutants into these lakes. And by the way, pollutants can include things like sand and rocks, at least according to the court here. But all it really does is narrow the area over which EPA has jurisdiction. So no longer do they have jurisdiction over simply an area of your own property that may be periodically wet, which might be a wetland. Instead, now it's more narrowly defined to a lake, some navigable water, and then something immediately adjacent to it. That's really all the court did in this case.
Ibrahim, let's bring you in. From an environmental standpoint, what is the significance of this ruling? And give us a little bit more background on the Clean Water Act.
So the EPA got created to begin with in the late 60s, early 70s, because our rivers were on fire. There were rivers that were actually catching on fire. The stench from the pollution in some of our waterways was so severe that people were putting pressure on government, and that's what created the EPA to begin with. So we need these agencies to be strong, especially in the age of runaway climate change, which we're in right now. So a ruling like this, which, as our colleague said, can put 90 million acres of wetlands in jeopardy, now muddies that water technically, and we can start, etching away at these rulings that have protected all this natural wonder, because it's, I don't know if you guys know this, but during Hurricane Katrina, the areas that were protected by wetlands had 30% less damage because of them. But we need these ecosystems. We're already at an ecological collapse point globally, and a ruling like this just sets a precedent where we're slowly degrading the laws that are protecting the natural world at a time that we need it more than ever.
Danny, real quickly here, this case, what's the precedent it could set for future cases now?
The precedent is basically, it's just a more narrow interpretation of what waters of the United States are. EPA still retains its power to control waters of the United States and specifically to prevent pollutants from being put into those waters. But, I mean, as Justice Clarence Thomas and Justice Gorsuch wrote in one of their opinions, the idea is if you make this too expansive, then EPA becomes more like a local zoning board, because if you have a property and you have a front lawn and that is a waterway, deemed to be a waterway, then now it's EPA that can regulate what you do with that front lawn. And to be more precise, maybe we're talking about a large property with maybe some wetlands on it. And really what wetlands are may be open to interpretation as well. So, yes, it narrows the geographic scope of EPA and the enforcement ability, but the power is not diminished at all. As long as we're talking about wetlands that are adjacent to a lake or other navigable water, then EPA is going to be able to enforce no problem. It's just the geographic expanse, the jurisdictional scope that has been narrowed.
And Ibrahim, let's switch gears and talk about another similar issue. A new report was released earlier this week about the impact that climate change could potentially have on the United States' ability to train members of the military. Talk to us more about that.
So think about Navy SEALs, training on the beach. And that beach has more surges, more flooding, or more erosion, and they have to move that entire military base. They don't have enough training days because the climate, the weather isn't cooperating enough. Think about a military operation and having planes needing to take off, but it's so hot that the runway is now rubbery and they can't take off. This could mean losing or winning a battle or a war because we literally can't deploy our military to take action because it was not designed in a time to take into account these vast temperature ranges.
So much to think about. Yep. It impacts virtually every portion of our lives.
Yeah, we live in a closed sphere in the middle of space. Like everything affects everything inside of that reality, and we have to think about that. We have to think about it when we vote in our next election for representatives that are going to appoint judges that understand the science of climate change. We as business leaders and investors have to think about the impact of where we're deploying our capital for a world that is ready for a different type of climate. Everything affects everything else inside of that closed sphere, and we have to think that way.
All right, Danny Ceballos and Ibrahim Al-Husseini, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. We're back with a new report about the classified documents found at the Mar-a-Lago estate. According to a report from the Washington Post, people familiar with the investigation say Trump's staff moved boxes of documents the day before his estate was raided last summer. The Post also quoted sources saying Trump and his aides allegedly held a so-called dress rehearsal for moving those sensitive papers before he received a subpoena. Now, NBC News has not independently confirmed the report. Trump has denied any wrongdoing in the case. NBC News Justice and Intelligence correspondent Ken Delanian joins us now with more on this. So, Ken, let's talk about what you make of this latest reporting. What should we know about these new reported details in the investigation, and how crucial might the timing of this document move be?
Well, Joe, all this is about the question of whether Donald Trump was actively trying to obstruct the federal investigation and the effort to get those classified documents back. And what the Post is saying is that before the Justice Department came down in June with a subpoena demanding those documents, there's evidence that actually the day before that some people working for Donald Trump moved those documents to a storage room. Now, there's nothing in the story that says that Donald Trump ordered that to happen. That's the big question, right? Is can they tie this to Donald Trump himself? And practically everybody who has worked at Mar-a-Lago has now testified before that grand jury, according to my sources. And one of the people that moved the documents, Walt nada, has allegedly told two different stories to investigators, and so now he's at risk of being charged. But the problem with that is he's not really cooperating either. So the question really is, will they ever get to the bottom of this such that they can charge Donald Trump with obstruction of justice? This story doesn't tell us the answer, but it's a quite interesting bit of reporting.
Yeah, I'm also curious about the so-called dress rehearsal. What is the Post report saying about that so-called dress rehearsal that Trump reportedly held with his staff to practice moving government documents?
It's a bit vague, but just the idea that they were talking about a dress rehearsal and talking about moving classified documents suggests that there was knowledge that Trump wanted to conceal these documents from someone. And look, it's very clear that he said it publicly, right, that he thought these were his documents, that the government wasn't entitled to them. And he appears to be a bit hazy on what was secret and what wasn't. But the law is very clear on it. He was not entitled to classified documents after he left the presidency. And if he was plotting with his staff to try to keep them away from government investigators, that appears to be a big problem for Donald Trump, Joe.
You mentioned the grand jury. Just real quickly, where do things stand right now with the grand jury working on the investigation?
So it appears that the grand jury has not met in some time. It's hard to know what to make of that. But look, everybody I talk to with clients in this case believes that they are wrapping up this investigation and that they're moving into the phase where they make prosecutorial decisions. No one I speak to would be surprised to see some kind of resolution of this case, whether an indictment or a report or something else, sometime this summer, Joe.
All right. Ken Delanian, thank you so much. This morning, a key leader in the January 6th insurrection is facing the longest prison sentence yet in connection with the insurrection. Yesterday, a federal judge sentenced Stuart Rhodes, the founder of the far-right group the Oath Keepers, to 18 years in prison. Now, while Rhodes was not physically present during the attacks, he was still convicted of seditious conspiracy for his role in planning and mobilizing it. Another member of the Oath Keepers, Kelly Meggs, who was also convicted of seditious conspiracy, was sentenced to 12 years in prison.
And now to a long-awaited update on Pope Francis' health. The Pope opening up in a Telemundo exclusive about some weighty topics, but also the positivity that's keeping him going. Here's NBC News correspondent Ann Thompson with more.
Pope Francis showing the world his health is improving almost 2 months after he was hospitalized for bronchitis. In an interview with our sister network Telemundo, the 86-year-old pontiff thankful the doctors caught the infection in the nick of time, saying had they waited even a few more hours, it would have been more serious. The Pope laughing, saying when people tell him he looks good, he knows that's a compliment you give old people. The Pope meeting virtually with young people around the world in a town hall. But on his mind, the unending war in Ukraine. Francis saying President Zelensky asked him to help return the Ukrainian children taken to Russia, but sidestepping the question of whether Russia should return Ukrainian territories, saying it's a political problem. Francis reiterating his opposition to abortion and asking the world to remember migrants leave their home countries by necessity, as his father did when he left Italy for Argentina. When asked what changes he still hopes to make as Pope, Francis joking that he needs to change, but says change is hard even for him. And as for the church, he says there is always more to do. It is insatiable. Ann Thompson, NBC News.
Welcome back. The CDC says nearly 1,400 infants died as a result of sudden infant death syndrome in 2020.
But now a new study is offering insight into some of the risk factors that could lead to these sudden unexplained deaths, also known as SIDS. NBC News medical contributor Dr. Kavita Patel joins us now. Good morning, Dr. Patel. So tell us about this groundbreaking study. What were some of the major findings researchers discovered?
Good morning. And unfortunately, as you mentioned, there are too many deaths that we still have from sudden infant death syndrome. So these are researchers out of the children's hospitals in Boston and San Diego. And what they did is they compared brains of infants who had died of SIDS with the brains of other infants who had died, but from causes that they had known, things like pneumonia or heart problems. And what they found in the babies that had died from SIDS was an altered metabolism and altered nuclei. Remember, that's kind of the core of every cell in the brain, specifically around around a certain receptor related to serotonin. Serotonin might sound familiar to many of us because many of us take drugs to regulate serotonin, and that can help with things such as depression. But in these babies, they think it could be linked to why a baby might not actually pick up or try to get air if they're not able to get oxygen. So a key finding, but probably too premature to do anything about, which can be frustrating for mothers and fathers all around the world.
Yeah, that, Dr. Patel, that kind of leads to my next question. With this study, how much closer are we to having a better understanding of SIDS, both what causes it and possibly how to prevent it?
Yeah, Joe, look, this has definitely been like a longstanding target of research. Obviously, this many causes of unknown death. There are some physical and environmental factors that we do know about, and I think this is where we can talk about what we can do to prevent it. At least with some of the physical and environmental factors, we know that brain defects, such as the enzymes we're talking about, and some additional brain enzymes have been shown to be associated with SIDS. Low birth weight, also babies with respiratory infections. Remember, the key time for SIDS is really in that first year. And we know that many infants who died of SIDS recently had a cold, which could contribute to breathing problems. And then we have the physical factors. And these are things that we can control to make sleep safe for a baby. For my own babies, I followed these guidelines from the American Academy of Pediatrics. That's keeping a baby on their back versus sleeping on their stomach or side. About half the babies that die of SIDS are thought to have been found with sleeping on their stomach, so sleep on the back. Take away anything from their bedding area that could cause any difficulty breathing, so no fluffy comforters, no blankets, no things around the crib. And then recommending to have parents in the same room, not in the same bed, but in the same room for at least the first 6 months of life.
Dr. Patel, there's no tests available to find out whether an infant may have a higher predisposition, is there?
No, unfortunately, there are not. But again, going back to thinking through this research, which points to potentially some of these brain factors, could lead to the development of some tests. That's exactly where researchers are headed. But until then, we know that kind of controlling the environment is the best thing a parent can do. Trust me, I understand that first year is filled with so many stressors. So we need to do as much as we can to decrease the chances that any of this could happen.
All right, Dr. Kavita Patel, thank you so much. We're back now with the debt ceiling negotiations, where things stand this morning and what it all means for you.
As we reported earlier this hour, a source tells NBC News a deal could be reached as early as today on an agreement. There's just a few days to go before the June 1st deadline of a potential default. And who better to talk with us about all this than NBC News senior business analyst and MSNBC 11th hour host Stephanie Ruhle. Stephanie, good to have you with us. We don't like to let you sleep, especially around busy news times like this. I mean, these negotiations, they've gone late into the night, just like you. What are some of the things we should be on the lookout for as both the White House and House Republicans work on trying to get a deal done here?
You know, I spoke to someone close to, good morning, both of you, close to the negotiations, who told me silence means progress. Remember, just days and weeks ago, if you would see the president or other members of the administration out there on the podium saying we are not budging, things are not moving forward, or alternatively, Kevin McCarthy hailing insults across the other side, you're not really seeing that in the last few days. And what we're hearing is they are getting closer to a deal. Now, something alarming or concerning for lots of folks out there is that Fitch, one of the three major rating agencies, have now put the United States on watch for a possible downgrade. If they were to downgrade us, that would be very bad news. But remember, a rating agency has to operate based in facts, not assumptions, reading tea leaves that potentially something could get done today, next Tuesday, next Wednesday, but in facts. And right now there is no deal. So they've put them on watch for downgrade, and that has many concerned, and certainly Congress feeling the pressure.
Stephanie, we know that deadline is just a few days away. House Speaker McCarthy's top negotiator says progress has been slow during these talks. If the U.S. were to default on its debt, how might the Biden administration deal with the delay in government payments?
Listen, it is very bad. As you said, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen said around June 1st. Now, it's not a hard date. It's not like June 1st comes, there's a trigger, suddenly all of these things happen. But she's warned we're not going to be able to pay for all the services that Americans rely on. So come early June, if we don't have a resolution, you can see it impacting veteran support, Social Security payments, and a number of other things that Americans rely on. Now, there are potential alternatives. What the White House could do would be enact the 14th Amendment, which is essentially ignore the debt limit and keep on trucking. But that has never been done before. It's certainly something that's going to spook the markets, make the world economy feel uneasy.
You just touched on this, but if this happens, if we get to the June 1st deadline and there's no deal, what's the biggest impact that everyday Americans are going to see and feel?
Listen, the United States has the AAA rating. You are considered, the best out there, the best to borrow from. If certainly that gets damaged, it will cost a whole lot more money to use a credit card for businesses to operate, simply to borrow. And it has been estimated that the U.S. economy could lose up to 2, potentially 3 million jobs, and the amount of money is in the multi-hundred billions.
Stakes cannot be higher. Stephanie Rule, thank you for joining us this morning and helping us understand this a little better.
More financial headlines now. Tesla and Ford are announcing a supercharged strategic partnership for the future.
CNBC's Bertha Coombs joins us now with that and other money headlines. Bertha, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Joe. This reminds me sort of the way Apple competes with Google. They both make phones, but Apple still lets you have Google and Chrome on your phone. Tesla is opening up its charging network now to Ford customers in the United States. Ford owners will get access to more than 12,000 superchargers starting early next year with the use of an adapter. Eventually, Ford will adopt Tesla's charging port. Tesla CEO Elon Musk saying he doesn't want Tesla's network to be like a walled garden, and it should be supportive of sustainable transportation. And it also wouldn't hurt if that were the de facto system, and it would probably mean good money for Tesla. Meantime, South Korea's Hyundai and LG Energy announcing plans to build a more than $4 billion electric vehicle battery plant in the U.S. Executives from both companies signing a deal today to build the joint venture in Savannah, Georgia, where Hyundai will also open a new EV factory. The joint venture will have an annual capacity of 30 gigawatt hours, or enough to produce about 300,000 vehicles. Hyundai currently has one U.S. assembly plant in Alabama. And Costco says it feels good about its ability to raise membership fees, even with inflation still high. The Wholesale Retail Club also doesn't think that it would hurt the number of customers renewing their memberships for new people signing up. Costco historically raises fees every 5 to 6 years, with the last one coming in the summer of 2017. It's kind of like Amazon. They raise them every few years or so as well. Back to you.
Just have to have some more samples or something to make up for the price increase.
As long as they don't raise the price of the soda and hot dog deal.
Okay, yeah, exactly. That's always low. Thank you, Bertha.
Thank you.
It seems artificial intelligence is infiltrating every aspect of our lives, from medical diagnoses to placing food orders. Well, now a Georgia school is offering an undergraduate minor in AI.
Emory University in Atlanta claims their program is different from others because it doesn't just teach students to code AI, it helps them understand the complicated issues surrounding the technology.
To help us put this in perspective, we are joined by Joanna Stern. She is the Wall Street Journal senior personal tech columnist. She's also a tech analyst for NBC News. She's a columnist for the Wall Street Journal. Also with us, Professor Vaidhi Sundaram. He is chair of the AI Humanity Education Subgroup at Emory University. Thank you both.
Good morning. And first, let's start with you, Professor. Can you explain a little bit about what this program is and what it covers?
Yes, good morning. First of all, thank you for having me on your show. AI, as everyone says, as the world is reading about in every newspaper these days, is infiltrating or embedded in all aspects of our life. And so what Emory University is doing is it's taking the lead on making sure that all of our young students are educated in what AI is, what it can do, what it cannot do, and what the pitfalls are, as well as what the advantages are. So we've designed a new minor in artificial intelligence that is accessible to every kind of major, whether you're a business major, a philosophy major, nursing, health, biological, any kind of student is going to be able to take these courses, get a minor in artificial intelligence and understand how AI works, what it can do, and most importantly, how it impacts society, both how society influences the use and design of AI systems, as well as how AI can better people's lives and at the same time be watchful of what it might, dangers it might pose.
I mean, the truth is, the truth is AI is going to impact pretty much every single major out there. Joanna, I want to ask you real quick. I mean, students looking at which college to attend, to have an option like this, I mean, how important could it be to study AI technology like this?
I think this is huge, and I think it's great for just even the entire industry of computer or tech education, because so much of it has been confined to computer science classes and engineering majors, which can be, it just can be a turnoff to some people that are not interested in that, right? If you're not interested in the STEM type of education, then you sort of shy away from those computer classes. And that's what's so integral with AI. I mean, I have a column up today about the intersection of AI and photography. This is, for, I would say, in the last decade, 2 decades, maybe longer, the biggest technology that we have seen, which intersects with all sorts of humanities and different industries, as you said. So I think this is huge. I think also another interesting thing is that you're seeing graduates that are coming out of school right now with no AI education looking to get and learn more about this topic. And so it will be interesting to see if we see other types of courses, and of course there will be other types of courses, but other types of degrees that add on to previous education.
And Professor, you started to touch on this earlier. There's a lot of talk about the dangers of AI. How does this program address those moral and ethical questions around it?
So one of the most important parts of the AI education that we are offering is this business of what we call AI ethics, and that deals with bias and fairness largely in AI systems, like, for example, automatic zip code profiling or automatic screening of resumes, which have some biases built in, even things like facial recognition systems that impact on privacy. Those are all the factors that people need to be aware of, right? So the point of being aware of these is to make sure that when people are developing policy, you incorporate these kinds of potential dangers into the policy to prevent it from happening. And also when you're designing these systems, you incorporate sufficient safeguards to make sure that they don't creep into the technology. So those are the two, disinformation, misinformation. We hear about this every day. How do you detect it? How do you prevent it? How do you classify some piece of news which may have some truth in it, but may also have some falsehood and some bias in it, right? So those are all things that are happening. It's possible either through negligence or malice to embed these kinds of, undesirable features into news. And so one of the ways in which we are trying to prevent this is to teach students how these things work, how to detect when they're happening, and how to avoid them.
We call that news literacy. Misinformation already such a problem, and so many worries AI is just going to accelerate those issues. Joanna, finally, I mean, you recently wrote an article for the Wall Street Journal where you talk about the experience of cloning yourself using AI. Talk a little about that technology, how accessible it is, and the concerns surrounding it.
Well, I think this is why this is so important that there is education around this, that literacy. So what I did in this project was I used some pretty simple AI tools that are out there and created a video clone of myself, a version of me, a video version of me that I could just type in anything and it would say it. It was a deep fake, so to speak, but there was a lot of effort that sort of went into making that. And then there was a voice clone of me, which I was able to create using a service called 11 Labs. And it sounded quite convincingly like me. And I was able to fool some family members and even fool my bank. I called my bank with this and went through the voice biometric system. And guess what? It didn't know if it was me or AI me. And that's why I think this is really where we're at the cusp of this point where our success and so many people's success is going to be dependent on how we use these tools and how we use them in ethical and clear ways.
Such an important conversation. Professor Vaidhi Sundaram and Joanna Stern, thank you both for joining us this morning. Have a great Memorial Day weekend.
Thank you for having me on. Thank you.
Welcome back. If you are still booking summer flights, a new list is out with the top 5 best airlines. Delta was named the best U.S. airline of 2023, according to travel information website The Point Sky. It's actually the 5th year in a row that airline ranked highest on the list, which considers reliability, affordability, and overall customer satisfaction. Second was United Airlines. Alaska Airlines came in third, followed by American and Southwest. I guess we fly them all in our business. It's like whichever one gets us to wherever we need to be fastest.
And whatever hub you're closest to, right? I know Newark is a United hub.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
More flight options.
Whatever will get us there to cover the news. All right. There are new worries this morning that the summer airline travel season could come with the same headaches that we saw last year.
According to the Department of Transportation, last year more than 25,000 people were bumped from flights at the 10 largest airports in the country because airlines oversold the flights. That was more than double the year before. Jesse Ashlock, Deputy Global Editorial Director of Condé Nast Traveler, joins us now to unpack this further. Good morning, Jesse. So let's start with the basics. How are airlines able to bump passengers when they've already bought tickets? How is that allowed?
Well, let's start out with the fact that the vast majority of bumpees are voluntary. And so there are airlines, they're overbooked and they're asking for volunteers. And we've probably all been in a situation where we've seen that sort of thing happen. Most of the major airlines have an online bidding system where you can decide how much the inconvenience is worth to you and submit a figure. You mentioned Delta being number one earlier. Delta actually last year had 0 involuntary bumpees. I've just coined a new word. So of that 25,000, most people agreed to the inconvenience.
No one wants to be an involuntary bumpy. All right. So last summer was not a good experience for air travelers, some of whom were involuntary bumpies. How are things looking this year? We keep hearing these promises that it's going to be better. They've staffed up. The plane situation's better. What's it looking like? Could we see more headaches?
We could see more headaches. Sorry. But, we're about to kick off summer with the unofficial launch of summer with Memorial Day weekend. It's supposed to be the busiest Memorial Day in 20 years. And everybody in the predictions game is saying that we're going to have record-breaking numbers this summer. So expect lines. The issues that existed last summer are still with us. The overbooking, airlines aren't quite back at capacity. And in addition, there is the threat of pilot strikes at several of the major airlines. So, go with grace, be patient. There are things you can do to protect yourselves. Of course, fly midweek if you can, fly early in the day if you can. Try to avoid short layovers, excuse me, especially at busy hubs. And get to the airport early. Also, if you want, you could take a road trip. Gas prices are down.
And Jesse, as you mentioned, a lot of those bumpies are actually volunteers. They're willing to get bumped from a flight. They usually get a sweeter deal in the form of a voucher from the airline and another flight. Is it worth voluntarily opting to step off your plane? And if you are an involuntary bumpy, what are they owed?
In the case of the voluntary bumpies, it's really kind of up to you based on what your plans are, how much you need to be somewhere. There are stories of folks being paid up to $10,000 for the inconvenience. Don't expect that, but you do have some leverage here, and you can get a flight voucher that could allow you to do some other things. In the case of an involuntary bumpy, there are new federal requirements about compensation. They are complicated and baroque, but they're based on the duration of the delay. And in the case of a one-way flight, the compensation is supposed to be double the value of that flight. There's a bill in the Senate that's stalled out, but that would mandate a minimum payout of $1,350. So let's hope that gets through eventually.
So, and I was going to say, if you are looking to volunteer, how much negotiating room can you have to try and get a sweeter deal?
Well, see what you can get. It's always a good idea to do that. What's the worst that can happen? You wind up flying on the flight that you booked. There are stories of upgrades. There are stories of even folks getting cash. But for the most part, what you should expect is a voucher that is meaningful to you for a future flight. One other thing I want to say in the case of the involuntary bumpies is that you should remember that your credit cards can be your friend in an instance like this. They have travel insurance attached, and that can help you out if you're in a pinch.
All right, some good advice there, and I always love a segment where we make up an expression or words. Jesse Ashlock from Condé Nast Traveler, thank you so much for joining us. Have a great Memorial Day weekend wherever you are traveling to. That does it for this hour of Morning News Now.
The news continues right now. Good Friday morning. I'm Valerie Castro in for Savannah Sellers.
Good to have you with us. I'm Joe Fryer. Right now on Morning News Now, crunch time. A deal may be close to raise the debt ceiling before that June 1st deadline next week. Negotiators have been working well into the night to try and reach a compromise. Well, there is optimism. A top GOP negotiator says progress has been slow. That's raising questions about whether a deal can be reached in time. We've got the latest on those talks and what happens next if we do get a deal. Significant sentencing. Stuart Rhodes, founder of the far-right Oath Keepers, sentenced to 18 years behind bars for his role in the January 6th insurrection. This is the longest Capitol riot sentence so far. We'll have more on what warranted that extended sentence and how Rhodes is responding. Also, on the road again, it is the unofficial start of summer. It's also one of the busiest travel weekends of the year. Some 43 million Americans expected to either drive or fly in the coming days. We got you covered with what you can do to ensure a stress-free getaway, plus the forecast for your holiday weekend. We've got team coverage this morning. And it's Friday. You know, we've got your can't miss list on deck. This week, none other than Arnold Schwarzenegger back for his first ever TV series. More on that later this hour. Hard to believe Arnold's never been on TV before. Now he's tackling that. Looking forward to bringing you that a little later. Let's begin this hour with the start of the long holiday weekend, looking like anything but a holiday for debt ceiling negotiators in Washington.
This morning, sources tell NBC News that progress has been slow, but a deal could be close. Without an agreement, the U.S. risks defaulting on its financial obligations as early as next week on June 1st. NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Ryan Nobles has the latest on where things stand this morning.
Lawmakers do appear to be close to a deal, but with the June 1st deadline fast approaching, they are warning that this last stage of the negotiations will be the toughest.
Some hope heading into the weekend as negotiators race against the clock to avoid economic catastrophe that a deal may finally be in sight. Both sides showing optimism.
It's hard, but we're working, and we're going to continue to work till we get this done.
The only way to move forward is with a bipartisan agreement.
But the deal would still have to pass Congress, and leaders are walking a tightrope.
We're at a sensitive phase with sensitive issues that remain. Those sensitive issues are the thorniest issues that we've been discussing.
The White House and Republicans in the House of Representatives are haggling over budget cuts and caps on future spending. They're working to find a sweet spot that will appease cost-conscious conservatives and progressives worried about the impact on social programs.
It's clear to me that President Biden is continuing to hold the line.
The ultimate deal, though, may require compromise from both factions.
I think the Speaker well knows he's going to lose his Freedom Caucus, and I think Hakeem Jeffries and the President well know that they're going to lose a number of progressives on the deal. And so, they're just trying to figure out where that middle ground is.
Compromise that could make it more difficult to get through both the House and the Senate.
Every additional Democrat vote you think you want to get means you're getting a worse deal overall.
But despite all the noise, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy has pressed upon his caucus to remain calm and that a deal will come together.
Look, it's not easy. This is a big issue, and it's not something you can solve easily. We want to make sure it's worthy of the American people.
Now, members have already left Washington for the Memorial Day break, but they've been warned they will need to be ready to return at any moment. It's going to take time to write and pass the legislation that comes from any deal. House Republicans have vowed to give the deal at least 72 hours to be reviewed before it's voted upon. And some Republicans in the Senate have warned that they will not speed up the process for a deal they cannot support.
Ryan Nobles, thanks so much.
This morning, the leader of the far-right group, the Oath Keepers, is facing 18 years in prison in connection with the attack on the Capitol. This is the longest sentence imposed of the more than 1,000 prosecutions stemming from January 6. NBC News Justice and Intelligence correspondent Ken Delaney joins us with the latest on this. Ken, good morning.
Joe, good morning. Attorney General Merrick Garland says the stiff sentences imposed on Stuart Rhodes and his top deputy reflect the grave threat their actions pose to our democratic institutions, vowing the Justice Department will continue holding accountable those criminally responsible for the attack.
It's the longest sentence imposed on any January 6th defendant so far.
Oath Keepers founder Stuart Rhodes given 18 years in prison in connection with the attack on the nation's capital. Rhodes, a former Army paratrooper with a Yale law degree, was sentenced after being convicted of seditious conspiracy, using violence to prevent the government from carrying out its lawful duties. Rhodes was not physically present at the Capitol during the January 6th attack, but prosecutors say Rhodes plotted after the election to use violence to keep President Trump in power. Speaking in November 2020.
We have men already stationed outside D.C. as a nuclear option in case they attempt to remove the president illegally. We will step in and stop it.
But Judge Amit Mehta said he conspired with others to help make it happen and to take up arms and foment revolution. Clad in an orange prison jumpsuit, Rhodes showed no remorse, telling the judge he considers himself a political prisoner. But Judge Mehta dismissed that claim, saying, "You, sir, present an ongoing threat and a peril to this country, to the republic, and the very fabric of our democracy."
So I've got good men on the ground already. We've been did a leaders recon there last week.
The Justice Department has arrested more than 1,000 people in connection with the riot. The Capitol assault also left more than 140 members of law enforcement injured. One of them, former Capitol Police Sergeant Aquilino Gonell, says justice has been served.
18 years for Stuart Rhodes. That's a long sentence by any stretch.
Rightly deserved. It was not a political discourse. It was not peaceful. It was chaos.
Rhodes' lawyers vowing to appeal, accusing the Justice Department of weaponizing Rhodes' words against him.
He never went into the Capitol. He never assaulted anyone. He never destroyed any property. We think that ultimately this is going to be about free speech.
The judge applied a so-called terrorism enhancement to Rhodes' sentence, the first time that's happened in a January 6th case. Looking ahead, another high-profile defendant convicted of sedition, Proud Boys leader Enrique Tarrio, is scheduled to be sentenced August 30th. Joe?
All right, Ken, thank you so much.
Americans are gearing up for a busy travel weekend.
So what can you expect if you're hitting the road or the skies? Joining us now, meteorologist Michelle Grossman with your holiday weekend forecast. Michelle, good morning.
Hey there, guys. It's all about location today, tomorrow, and throughout the weekend. We're looking at some spots that we'll see some rain, some heavy rain at times, also some really stormy conditions, especially in the southern high plains. So first, the southeast, we're looking at a coastal low. We've been talking about it for a few days, and it's still spinning off the coast. It's going to bring some heavy rain, some high winds, some coastal flooding, especially tomorrow in the Carolinas. But today, we're going to see that take shape. And then in the west, we're looking at widespread thunderstorms in the high plains. We're looking at the chance for really gusty winds gusting up to 60 miles per hour. Could see some large hail as well. And then we're looking at heavy rain in portions of the Intermountain West. You can see Billings, where we have those brighter colors. That's indicating where we will likely see some really heavy rain. We're looking at hazardous driving conditions along I-80 in the west, I-25. I-40 will not be great either, and I-95 from Richmond down to throughout portions of Florida, because we're looking at some really heavy rain falling over the next 48 hours or so. So as we go throughout the weekend, the Northeast looking really nice. At least the first part of the weekend, we're looking at lots of sunshine. It will be on the cooler side in some spots, but really nice today, really nice tomorrow, sunny in Seasville. The beaches will be really nice. And then Sunday, portions of the mid-Atlantic could see an increasing shower threat. That's as that coastal low gets a little bit closer. Even to the New Jersey beaches, we could see some showers Sunday and then possibly Monday as well. The Midwest looking really great too. Bright and sunny weekend, a warming trend into the Memorial Day weekend. Minneapolis, Sunday 83, 86 by Monday, mostly sunny skies. Chicago looking good too, near 80 degrees on Sunday, 84 on Monday. So enjoy those temperatures. St. Louis, you're going to be near 90 degrees by Monday. The South, we've been talking about these showers. We've had them in place Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Once again today, we have that front that's sort of stuck there. That pattern is not moving, and we're looking at the chance for those showers continuing, especially in the western portions of Texas, Oklahoma, into portions of the Central Plains. And we could see some pretty gusty storms as we go throughout the afternoon and evening hours. Then by Monday, Dallas and Houston, you will see the chance for some showers and storms. The West, we're looking at isolated storms in the Rockies. It's stretching all the way from the Intermountain West into the Rockies, the plains as well. Phoenix, it will be hot, but you're used to this. Temperatures in the 90s on Sunday, near 100 degrees, near 100 once again on Monday. And notice those shower chances in Denver Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. In San Francisco, you're going to be on the cooler side with temperatures in the 50s and 60s. So if you're lucky enough to be hitting the beaches tomorrow, looking good in the Northeast from Cape Cod to Long Island, Island, the Jersey Shore beaches, Ocean City, Maryland. We're looking at temperatures in the 70s, the upper 70s in Ocean City. Cape Cod Islands, we're looking a little bit cooler there, upper 60s. We're going to have a little bit of a breeze, too. The water temperature is chilly there, too, but we're looking at lots of sunshine, so no complaints there. Also looking at rip current possible. So if you are headed into the water, you want to heed any warnings out there. Listen to the lifeguards. Hopefully you do have them on the beaches. And as we head down to the south, this is where we're going to see the problem area. It's going to be a terrible beach day tomorrow. Also Sunday in the Carolinas, the Outer Banks, low 70s, breezy, lots of clouds, just a dreary, dreary day with the rain falling. It could be really heavy at times. And we could see over 5 inches of rain in some spots along the Carolina coast. Myrtle Beach, same story. Hilton Head, dangerous breaking waves in the surf zone. We do have a high surf advisory along those Carolina beaches. And then Florida, we have those typical summer-like storms popping up in Vero Beach, Miami Beach, but temperatures in the 80s. Clearwater Beach looking really nice. Lots of sunshine. Panama City, same story. Temperatures in the 80s. So this is that coastal low we're watching. It's going to be a nuisance. It's going to be a drag over the next couple of days with that low pressure just kind of spitting off the coast. It's bringing those scattered storms along the southeast beaches. And tomorrow, this is the big day where we're looking at this big washout. This is an indoor day for sure with those winds kind of howling outside, the rain falling, and some really chilly temperatures. We're looking at temperatures only in the 50s and 60s in this spot. So you guys, not ideal weather, but some spots looking really good this weekend.
Well, those places will take it, and the rest I'm sure will have fun no matter what. Michelle, appreciate the forecast.
Exactly.
Have a great Memorial Day weekend.
AAA is forecasting that more than 42 million Americans will travel 50 miles or more from home this weekend. That's a 7% increase overall from last year. Travelers are taking all modes of transportation, cars, planes, buses, and trains. And we have everything you need to know as you head to your different destinations.
NBC News correspondent Tom Costello is at Reagan National Airport, his home away from home. And NBC News correspondent Lindsay Reiser is here in New York at Penn Station. Good morning to both of you. So, Tom, how are things looking so far at Reagan National?
Yeah, moving pretty quickly here. About 4,000 people going through TSA checkpoints every hour. That is a lot for Reagan National, but they're using a dog to screen people quickly. So you go right past the dog, and assuming that you are clean, you go right on through. That's good news. Nationwide right now, pretty good weather so far to travel today, according to the FAA. We've got about 575 delays nationwide, about 67 cancellations. Not bad. The FAA says today total, we expect 2.5 million people, more or less, will be traveling. That's in line with what we've seen in terms of the passenger flow for the last week or so. Some days a little more, some days a little less. About 50,000 flights. Now, listen, the FAA has opened up 169 so-called highways in the sky, high-altitude routes to try to speed things along. They're going to keep that going through the whole summer. But they are under the gun right now and in the spotlight along with the airlines because, as you know, it was a year ago on Memorial Day when things started to go bad. And then it continued to go bad all summer. The airlines, many of them didn't have enough pilots or flight attendants to fly the flights that they had promised. As a result, we had a lot of cancellations. We had a lot of delays. And quite simply, a lot of people were inconvenienced, missed their flights, missed their vacations. The airlines all have staffed up since then. They all insist that they are ready to proceed, and they don't expect any significant delays or cancellations this summer, at least not because of staffing issues. The weather remains the big variable, as it always is. 63% of delays, according to the FAA, are due to weather. But, guys, they've also got a problem with air traffic controller staffing. They're still about 3,000 controllers short nationwide, and so that could also impact operations through the whole summer. Back to you guys.
Lindsay, let's go to you at Penn Station. According to AAA, it looks like more people are traveling by bus and train this year, right?
Yeah, so it doesn't look incredibly busy behind me here at Moynihan Train Hall at Penn Station. I'm told, though, that throughout the morning it is going to get even busier. We did just see a couple of trains board, so that's why we're not seeing those long lines right this second. But yes, so AAA is predicting that travel by train or bus is expected to see tremendous growth, the biggest of any of those transportation sectors. So a 20% increase year over year. Amtrak alone is expecting 75,000 more passengers this weekend than this time last year. And so what's driving that? Well, travel in the Northeast Corridor is really popular. So destinations like New York, Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Philly, Boston, they're seeing a lot of traffic here. And Amtrak is also hearing from passengers, you know, they like the leisure aspect of it, sit back, relax, enjoy the view, and also trying to reduce their carbon footprint. So we will be out here all day. Of course, we have seen a lot of travelers, much busier than any normal day here at Moynihan, guys.
Lindsay, I will be where you are a little later this afternoon, heading to where Tom is in Washington. If you could keep it that quiet there until then, I would really appreciate it, because that'll make the rest of my day very easy. Tom, last summer we saw the opposite, a complete travel meltdown. So many delays and cancellations. Airlines didn't have enough staff. We keep hearing this year's supposed to be better. How are they preparing to make it better this year?
Well, you know, the bottom line here is that they've all learned from what happened a year ago, and they've all spent a lot of money staffing up. Now, in addition to that, more pilots, more flight attendants, more ground crews. A lot of the airlines have rolled out new programs, computer programs, to speed things along. At American Airlines, they have a program called HEAT. Essentially, that is, it looks at the incoming storm to an airport and then says, okay, we need to slide a bank of flights by whatever, 10, 5, 15, 20 minutes in order so that they don't all bottle up and bottleneck at once. So they're working that, and they say that last summer they experimented with it. They had 700 fewer cancellations because of that computer program. So they're moving it out now to other airports, other American Airlines hubs. Every airline is doing something to try to ensure that they don't have a repeat of last summer. But let's be clear, not every airline was guilty last summer, right? United Airlines and Delta had a pretty good summer. It was Southwest and American and Alaska that had a bad summer in terms of cancellations.
And we know some people are just going to avoid the airports and airlines altogether. Lindsay, what should people know if they're choosing to take the bus or train to their next destination?
So Amtrak says about a third of their passengers this year will have never ridden the train before. So for those people, if you're not familiar with how things work, get here early, plenty of time, lots of places to eat. But also Amtrak, which is only one of the operators here, they say they have ambassadors out today and throughout the weekend wearing green and yellow vests just to make sure that people know where they're supposed to go, know how it works. And so they say they've got people on hand, extra people on staff this weekend to make it go smoothly, guys.
All right, Tom and Lindsay with all things travel for this holiday weekend. Thank you so much.
That was our version of planes, trains, and automobiles. All right, let's head to the beach. NBC News correspondent Sam Brock got the toughest assignment this weekend. Sam, you're in Miami. They've had problems with unruly crowds during spring break, so what's the city doing to prepare for this holiday weekend?
Yeah, the amount of time, Joe and Valerie, that I've spent studying beaches and policing around beaches, I don't have enough time in this live shot to explain. Let's say this, though. We do know that there's going to be hundreds of thousands of people coming to Miami Beach for the holiday weekend. And as you correctly mentioned a second ago, Joe, over spring break just a couple of months ago, it was chaos, and it's been chaos for several seasons in a row. What are they doing to make sure folks are going to be safe? Police officers are going to be out there on 13-hour-long shifts. But in addition to that, there's local, state, and federal agencies that are also going to be on the ground, guys, to assist. As far as alcohol consumption on the beach, basically it's banned. There are small pockets where you can get permission, where there's concession agreements, but that's it. And I was out driving this morning. I saw barricades that are already going up, officers that are out on the street. They know there's going to be a lot of people out here. It is gorgeous. The water temperature, guys, is about 80 degrees here. Compare that to where you are in New York. Out on Long Island, it's like in the 50s. So you can understand why so many folks are coming down here. But everyone on the ground wants to keep the peace and make sure this goes off smoothly. They have an air and sea show that's going to be held here in Miami Beach. So a lot going on. The preparations are extensive.
Yeah, we know the crowds will be out there, Sam. Which beaches are considered the hotspot destinations for summer travel?
So Florida's Gulf Coast, according to many of the travel blogs, Valerie, is really the #1 destination. We interviewed Dr. Stephen Leatherman, or Dr. Beach, and he told us about the fact that St. George Island on his annual list of top 10 is #1. Now, that is right on the Florida Panhandle. You really have an entire extensive area, though, from Destin, which is the top of the Panhandle, all the way along the coast there, and then down Florida's peninsula and into the Florida Keys. If you have ever been out there to Isla Mirada or Key West, it is gorgeous. The boating is incredible, and they're going to be getting plenty of crowds as well. Other locations that are expected to see a bit of a surge, Cape Cod in Massachusetts. On the West Coast, guys, you have Malibu, California. And this one really warms my heart. Sanibel Island, which is right near Fort Myers, wiped out during Hurricane Ian. That was only 8 or 9 months ago. They're already back up and running again. It's not exactly the same as where we were prior to the hurricane, but the fact that they've been able to pick themselves up and are receiving visitors, it is a mystical and magical place known for its shells and unparalleled beauty. They're going to have people this season, so some pretty incredible news to share there.
All right, Sam, not to be too intrusive, but 80-degree water. Is this a barefoot live shot?
It is a barefoot live shot. You know what I'm so embarrassed about, Joe? If you're going to pull out for a second, I actually specifically said, not to because I'm walking around in pants and I already have like water rings on the bottom of my pants from the water coming up. Not a great look. Kind of like I'm rocking like a dad vibe right now. I'm not a dad, so that's never a good thing. But next time, shorts for sure, and I'll be more prepared, I promise.
All right, good practice, and you know, you can dry those at some point. All right, Sam Brock, thank you so much. We're back now with a mystery overseas that has scientists and sailors on high alert. A group of orcas, also known as killer whales, seems to be attacking boats off the coasts of Portugal and Spain, causing some of the ships to sink. NBC News Chief International Correspondent Keir Simmons joins us now with more on this. Keir, good morning.
Hey, Joe, good morning to you. This is one of those funny, not funny stories. Really not funny if you're in one of these boats. And it continues to be a mystery exactly why these killer whales seem to be targeting sailors.
A British couple setting sail off the coast of Morocco when a group of killer whales started battering their boat. The orcas continuing the barrage for at least an hour. They managed to keep the 46-foot sailing yacht afloat, but just days later, another vessel was not so lucky. 3 killer whales struck the rudder and side of the sailboat, eventually causing it to sink as the Spanish Coast Guard rushed to the rescue. It's one of at least 3 boats that have sunk because of the orcas since last summer, and many more have been seriously damaged in the last 3 years. According to researchers, there were about 15 orca interactions when this began in 2020. Incredibly, that number has now ballooned into the hundreds by 2023. And all of them happening here along the Iberian Peninsula.
It doesn't fit with anything we've ever seen anywhere else in the world.
Scientists are stumped.
So, 3 theories. One is the whales are super stressed. They're acting out because the oceans are too noisy.
Theory 2, the Jaws theory. Some experts believe the sea creatures may be out for revenge. Organising the attacks after a whale in the pod, possibly a female called White Gladys, was hit by a boat. Experts say orcas are very social and do often learn behaviour from one another. But Andrew Trites with the University of British Columbia believes a less aggressive option is most likely. Playtime.
Killer whales will rush up behind a boat and sometimes put their snout straight into the propeller wash and feel it's almost like a jacuzzi.
No injuries have been reported, and killer whales have not been known to harm humans. But if the whales think they're having fun, for terrified sailors, the joke's gone too far.
And Joe, you know, a group of orca whales is called a pod, but maybe we should rename them a gang or an army or a troop. Until we figure out what's going on, say it with me, we're all going to need a bigger boat.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I'm just going to say nice things about them so they don't bother me. Maybe that's the answer, too.
It's a good plan.
All right, Keir, thanks so much. Appreciate that.
A massive nationwide 10-week mission has brought relief and closure for hundreds of families. Some 225 missing children were located by U.S. Marshals in what was called Operation We Will Find You. The youngest child recovered was just 6 months old. NBC News Justice and Intelligence correspondent Ken Delanian has more.
Deputy U.S. Marshals looking hard in Los Angeles, pounding the pavement in New Orleans, making an arrest in Boston. All part of Operation We Will Find You, a 10-week effort that recovered 169 missing children.
One of the most fulfilling things I've done in the Marshal Service is go out and recover children.
Founded in 1789,
Police, U.S. Marshals!
The Marshal Service is best known for hunting down the most dangerous fugitives.
This is the residence, front doors on the right side.
Marshals also protect judges and transport federal prisoners. But in 2015, Congress expanded their mission to help find some of the hundreds of thousands of children who go missing each year.
She was born in 2006. She's 16 years old. She has been listed as a missing runaway for both JPSO and NOPD since February 12th, I believe.
Some run away, others get caught up in a custody fight, and still others are kidnapped and trafficked. The Marshals target those most at risk.
You know, I've always been good to you. I've always been honest with you, and I've tried to help you.
In Boston, Jenny's 15-year-old daughter had run away from home. She says the marshals found her in 72 hours. NBC 10 Boston's Kathy Curran spoke with her.
I started crying immediately. I think it was just gratitude. It's like, okay, she's alive. She's alive. We found her, and now we can do whatever comes next.
So I think
former Oakland police officer Ronald Davis directs the Marshals Service.
the skill set that we use to track down people who have conducted the most heinous crimes is the same skill set we use to recover our most precious treasure.
Do you know off the top of your head how many children roughly the marshals have recovered since you started this?
Yes, since 2015, when the act was passed, working with NCMEC, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, over 3,100.
Wow.
But Davis says that's no cause for celebration.
That's just the tip of the sword, and the tip of the iceberg, if you will, that there's hundreds of thousands that are missing. But it hopefully just underscores and highlights such a serious problem for the country.
The marshals use high-tech tools and old-fashioned shoe leather to find people.
All right, let's go.
They say they have located missing children in 2/3 of the cases they worked. More than 60% of the time, they say, the children were found within a week.
I think one of the scariest things is every day I would get my news alert from the local news into my inbox, and any time it mentioned a body being found, my heart was, she's dead. I can't thank the U.S. Marshal's Office enough.
Our thanks to Ken Delanian for this report. The Marshals have conducted similar operations every year since 2015.
On this Memorial Day weekend, we want to take a moment to remember those who served. 4 years ago, NBC News correspondent Harry Smith traveled to Germany in search of the remains of an American soldier.
This morning, he joins us with the conclusion of that emotional story. Good morning, Harry.
Truth be told, that story did not end in a conclusion. This one actually has a conclusion. And in my life, I've had the great opportunity to speak to a lot of veterans, go to a lot of places, the sands of Iwo Jima, the beaches of Normandy, tell stories of great American heroism. And when you meet these veterans, they all to a person say, we're not the heroes. The heroes are the folks who didn't come home.
Just days ago, Lieutenant Carl Nesbitt was laid to rest.
To honor the sacrifice that he made, that ultimate sacrifice.
He was a bomber pilot in World War II. His plane, the Yankee Doodle Dandy, shot down in Germany. First listed as missing in action, then presumed deceased, leaving his parents bereft, his father desperate for answers.
And he wrote several letters to the Department of Defense, find my boy, and they never could.
Let us pray.
Reverend Greg Seckman is Lieutenant Nesbitt's nephew. Months back, he was surprised by a call.
I was very suspicious because I couldn't believe that anyone would still be interested in my uncle some 75 years after he died.
It was a request for a DNA sample, which made the family wonder, even gave them hope. Carl's niece, Barbara Fiddler.
So we knew that there was a possibility.
Right.
But it was kind of vague. We really just thought it was a shot in the dark.
Not a shot in the dark so much as a determined effort by a group called History Flight. In both Europe and the Pacific, they perform archaeological digs, sifting through acres of earth in places they believe evidence of missing veterans can be found.
No man left behind means we will do what we have to do to come back and get you.
When you come on a site and you find something that might be helpful, what is that like?
It's like the heavens opens up.
Marine veteran Justin LaHue, History Flight COO.
There are so many families that are out there that have this hole. They are missing something. They sent a loved one out the door expecting to see them again, and they didn't come back. And not only did they not come back, they don't have answers.
What History Flight found near Leipzig, Germany, was sent to the Defense POW MIA agency, where it was painstakingly examined. Then, with the technology of a CSI-like lab, they look for a DNA match. When they make that match, they inform the family.
Since they never recovered a body, there was never any closure.
Carl Nesbitt is the lieutenant's namesake.
You know, my uncle's a hero. He still is. And it was always a mystery until recently. And I'm so happy
Lieutenant Nesbitt's remains were discovered along with those of Navigator Second Lieutenant Wayne Dyer and Bombardier Lieutenant Melvin Meyer. History Flight unearthed more than 9,000 pieces in the ground at their crash site, including dog tags, even photographs.
Pieces of people's lives.
The men who died were leading their crew on a crucial mission.
Somewhere over Germany.
An air assault of unimaginable proportions, deep behind enemy lines, 1,000 B-17s and B-24s, and 1,000 fighters, Mustangs, Thunderbolts, Lightnings, charged that day to destroy German aircraft factories. Fatality rates on B-17s were more than 50%.
It's just amazing. What dedication.
Jesse Hoskins' father was the ball turret gunner on that plane. His father bailed out when the plane was hit, as did 6 others, thanks to Nesbitt.
He was the key to that entire crew. Him holding those controls while the cables on this wing are shot out. He's holding that thing upside down, holding it with all of his might to keep that plane in there and give his buddies time to get out. And he did it. He did it.
Jesse's dad described Nesbitt as a character from a Norman Rockwell painting.
Oh, extremely proud of him. I thought he was a fun guy.
A fun guy. Lieutenant Nesbitt's sister, Marcille, is 93. She remembers the big brother who took her to dances.
He was sure nice to you, it sounds.
Oh, he sure was. I used to like to bake cookies and stuff, and I'm sure they probably, most of them went to him.
So maybe he was your favorite.
He was. I never said he wasn't.
70-some years later, Lieutenant Nesbitt's family is justifiably proud, but more than anything, happy to have him home.
Such an important mission because you're right on the eve of the assault on the beaches of Normandy, just a couple of weeks later. But it's the Memorial Day weekend, and we all think about we're ready to go to the beach. This is a little reminder of why we were able to go.
What extraordinary heroism by that man.
Right, upside down.
Yeah.
6 crew members get out. Just amazing. And as we're doing the story, I kept saying, this is a movie, this is a movie, this is a movie. Phenomenal stuff.
You gave us a little movie right there. We appreciate that. Harry Smith,
Pleasure
thank
to
you
be
as
here.
always.
Yeah.
All right, let's get some financial headlines now. JP Morgan looking into the future of investing with the help of AI.
CNBC's Bertha Coombs joins us now with that and other news. Good morning, Bertha.
Hey, good morning, guys. You know, JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon totally scoffs when it comes to cryptocurrencies, but AI, not so much. The bank is developing an artificial intelligence service similar to ChatGPT that will give investment advice to its customers. CNBC has learned that the bank has tapped to trademark or applied to trademark a product called Index GPT. A filing says it will use AI to analyze and select securities tailored to customers' needs. JP Morgan, though, so far has declined to comment. You'll still be able to watch your favorite football team at your local sports bar this fall. DirecTV has struck a multi-year deal for commercial distribution of the Sunday Ticket package. It allows bars and restaurants to continue showing out-of-market games to their customers. The NFL signed a 7-year deal with YouTube TV in December for the home broadcast rights for Sunday Ticket. And fire up the grill. Your Memorial Day barbecue is going to cost less this year. Propane prices are down nearly 50% from last year to 64 cents a gallon, hitting the lowest level since December 2020. It's a basic case of supply and demand. Propane has been building up in storage over the last winter because a lot of homes didn't need it for heating. It was so mild. Some food prices have cooled off as well. Beef and pork are both down about 2% from this time a year ago. But hot dogs are up 2% and chicken prices are up 5%. I'm a chicken or turkey burger person, so I guess nothing there for me in terms of savings.
You'll have to pay a little more. I'm sorry, Bertha. But we still, nevertheless, wish you a great Memorial Day weekend.
Welcome back. It's one of summer's most anticipated movies, and the full-length trailer for Greta Gerwig's Barbie has now been released. giving fans clues about what kind of story to expect. We see Margot Robbie in the title role, leaving Barbie land and venturing into the real world after things start to go wrong in her perfect life. There, she appears to punch someone and get arrested, as well as Ryan Gosling as Ken. We get to see Will Ferrell as an evil CEO and Kate McKinnon playing Weird Barbie. The movie is going to be released on July 21st. I can't make up my mind about this one.
I know. I mean, it's Greta Gerwig, so I'm intrigued, but it looks like things don't go well for Barbie, at least in parts of the movie. All right.
Kate McKinnon's always great, though. And today is also the long-awaited release date of Disney's live-action remake of The Little Mermaid.
The film stars Halle Bailey, Disney's first black Ariel, and it's already looking like it's going to be a hit, expected to make more than $10 million in just the previews, more than $120 million over the holiday weekend. It comes with what is a controversy, at least in the minds of some. NBC News correspondent Antonia Hilton got to see one of those previews and talk to fans. She's in Boston. Antonia, full disclosure, I saw it last week. Halle Bailey is a star. Many fans have been waiting this for a long time. What was it like at the theater? What were some of the reactions?
Well, in this area, there are so many kids who are excited, but you know what? Those kids are going to be fighting adults for some of the seats later today, I think. Because for many people, you know, the original came out in 1989. They're so excited to see the remake. And Halle Bailey, as you just mentioned, is an unbelievable performer. I'm both a fan of hers and her sister previously, and then also was a fan of this movie as a little kid. So for me, it is doubly special. And I think for families, for young kids who are going to be getting out of school later today and starting their holiday weekend. And then for adults like me, this is going to be really special. But I want you to take a listen to some of the conversations our team has had with some of the sweetest Halle Bailey fans and Little Mermaid fans. Take a listen.
Not many people think that a lot of cultures can mix, and I think that's a great thing.
I think it's one of my favorite movies.
Is she beautiful?
Yeah.
It's cool to finally see a princess that looked like me.
Under the sea, under the sea. Really like the black one.
Is she really beautiful?
Mm-hmm.
So that gives you just a sense of some of the excitement that's going to be coming into this theater here in Boston. Our first showing here is at 11 a.m. Some kids are going to be coming straight from school. Others we hear are going to be wearing costumes with their family and friends. But this all comes on the heels of a lot of controversy around this film. So while you see this joy here in this space, for months leading up to its release today, you know, there's been a lot of talk, pushback against the film, its themes of representation and diversity, not just through Halle, the main character, but also through other folks like the man who plays her father, Javier Bardem. And the conversation around that for many kids, frankly, just isn't what's on their minds today. They're excited to see a film that they know and love and to see someone who is such a talented performer take the helm of it. Joe.
Antonia, talk about the impact of representation here. You're surrounded by all of the excitement from ages young and old. What does seeing a black mermaid on the big screen mean for people? And what would have meant for you to see that representation growing up?
It would have meant the world. I'm one of 7 kids. I came to the theater to see Disney movies like this one all the time with my siblings. And, you know, when I was this age, I didn't get to see Disney princesses who looked like me. It was a while before Tiana and others came out. And so this would have meant the world to me. And I think what you're going to see, especially as we talk to more folks throughout the day, is that people love both of the princesses. It's just wonderful to see a sort of reincarnation, a recreation, and to see again, you know, not just Halle Bailey's representation, but for example, Javier Bardem playing her father, speaking with a Latin American accent, something that many American families can relate to, having family members who speak multiple languages, who come from different places. And so I think all of that, you're going to see people celebrating that today. And I know it would have meant the world to me, and we've already talked to kids for whom you can just see how much that lights up their eyes and makes them so excited to get their seats in the theater.
And Antonia, you touched on this, but the beauty of this is that those of us who are our age have the memories. You were just saying you had the pajamas, right?
Yep.
And, you know, so we want to see it. The kids want to see it. It really feels like it's going to be the ultimate shared experience across generations, right?
Absolutely. I think you're going to see parents get something new from this film. I'm already hearing from friends of mine who don't even have kids yet that they are going to be fighting their way into these theaters with childless. And so, you know, it's really going to be this multi-generation, generational celebration. And I think that's some of what's been missed, right, in the political conversation leading up to this. You know, people were criticizing Disney. There's been so much conversation about Disney being part of the culture war and going too woke. But the truth is, when you actually talk to people who are coming to the theaters, this is expected to be a smash hit. People are not thinking about politics as they arrive here. They're so excited to see someone who can sing and act and to see another version, another celebration of a story that's about family, that's about love and relationships, and so much more than I think the politics we've seen leading up to this.
All right, Antonia, great point there. Also, Awkwafina plays one of the characters. You don't see her, you just hear her voice. Fantastic, fantastic. Antonia agrees, I can tell. Thank you so much, appreciate it. Speaking of Little Mermaid, that is not the only film showing in theaters this weekend.
That's right, it's Friday, which means it's time for our weekly Can't Miss list, a roundup of all the movies, shows, and music you need to check out this weekend. Journalist Ariel Kristen joins us now with this week's list. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing? So let's get right to it. There are 3 different films in theaters this weekend, hopefully something for everyone.
Yes, well, we'll start off with You Hurt My Feelings, which is a rom-com. It stars Julia Louis-Dreyfus and also Tobias Menzies, and it's about a story about a writer who writes this novel, and she finds out from her husband how he really feels after secretly hearing him talk about the novel. So it's all about little white lies, a little bit about how people feel about the truth. And this is one, if you like a rom-com, this should definitely be one that you go check out. It's from A24, which is kind of different for them because they normally put out Everything Everywhere All at Once and other films like Uncut Gems. So it's a little bit different when it comes to rom-com, but this is one if you want to see it to check out.
Also, Kandahar, right?
Kandahar, I'm excited about that. Action, action, action. I mean, this is Gerard Butler. It's about a CIA agent who is on a mission, and the mission gets exposed when he's with his translator, which is played by Naveed Negahban. So if you are into bombs, bullets, and explosions, this is the movie for you. I'm a big Gerard Butler fan, so I can't wait to see it.
And one more movie is About My Father.
About My Father. So it's Robert De Niro's new film. So it's kind of like Meet the Parents. It gives me that Meet the Parents kind of feel. So if you want a fun kind of comedy, it's about a son and his father, who's played by Robert De Niro, who go to the son's fiance's family, which is a wealthy, eccentric family, and a lot of things come to question on what family really means. And so, listen, Robert De Niro knows all about family and fatherhood. He just had a brand new baby girl at the age of 79 years old, which is amazing. So
unreal, unreal.
Good for him. Go, Robert.
Yeah. So if you like mermaids, this is the weekend for you, right?
Yes, yes, this is. So not only is obviously Little Mermaid coming out, which is going to blow out the box office, this is also the premiere of Netflix's Mer People, which I'm very intrigued about. It's about a group of people who are underwater performers whose love for mermaids they've turned into real-life careers. So it follows their competitions, their costumes, and the hardships of this career. So I'm excited just to see what the costumes look like, to be honest with you. So that's one to go check out as well if you want to go to the barbecue and then sit at home and stream some TV.
No kidding.
Arnold Schwarzenegger is making a comeback to the screen, the TV screen this time.
The TV screen. Yes, Fubar. That's Arnold's, as you mentioned, first TV series. I'm very excited about that. It's about a father-daughter team that discover that they're secretly CIA agents when they're on a mission together. So it's going to be a mix of comedy mixed with drama. I mean, it gives me a kind of like a True Lies kind of feel, or Last Action Star, which Arnold starred in. So I'm very excited about this. So I'm very happy that Arnold's back. He's on TV now. We're seeing him again.
He's back.
He's back. I'm back. The governor's back.
Finally, it's morning news now, so we have to talk about all things Taylor Swift. So I guess she dropped a newly remixed album. What are we hearing about? What, the new deluxe edition of Midnights Till Dawn, right? That's
Midnights Till Dawn, yes. I mean, well, obviously, she's performing at a concert tonight, which everyone's talking about here. And everyone's saying that this is one of the best mixes that she's ever done. And people are, I mean, her fans have gone crazy. When you go on social media today, that's what everyone is talking about. So I think that Taylor can't do anything wrong right now. I mean, I think she's like literally the queen. She and Beyonce are the queens of everything right now.
And remaking everything and just, I mean, just doesn't stop.
It doesn't stop.
Good music she puts out.
Good music she puts out. proud, she's authentic, and her fans love her. And I mean, more to come from her.
And this is the MetLife Stadium now
It
this
is,
weekend,
yes,
right? So that's a pretty big one, I think.
There's tailgating parties I'm hearing about. People are having their own parties before and after. So, you know, it's going to be a big show.
Someone told me they're called tailor-gating parties.
Tailor-gating,
Is that
yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah. So, and the
Tailor-gating.
people who don't have tickets because they're $1 million just go and tailgate and then go home.
They're discouraging that at MetLife.
They
but
are,
I'm
okay.
sure
That'll
people will
totally
go
stop
anyway.
people.
Yeah, or you can just go to Europe. You know, you can go. Remember, we check out those tickets.
That's
there.
cheaper.
It's cheaper.
Daryl, Kristen, thank you so much. Have a great Memorial Day weekend.
Thank you. You too.
That's going to do it for this hour of Morning News Now.
The news continues right now.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.